So Priit has just arrived here, or we arrived here about 2 days ago for a seminar at our gym. Just give a bit of backstory how me and Priit met each other. I was a purple belt, 2 years ago, 2017, and I think that was Priit's first camp, the Globetrotter camp in Copenhagen, June 2017. And I remember seeing Priit's name on the instructors list and thinking, I don't even know where Estonia is. I'm sure. I was already rolling a camp against black belts in some competitions, like local ones. And I thought, I'll have a good roll against this guy. And then we rolled, and you smashed the life out of me, just like pinned me to the floor like I'd never done jiu-jitsu. And I thought it was maybe some sort of outlying thing, like I'd never been treated that horrendously by anyone. And then we met again at the Heidelberg camp, I think 6 weeks later. The same again happened, but I managed to understand his classes a bit better. It was a class on side control defense. And from then on I thought, well, how do I get you to the UK? And so since then, we've been bringing Priit over. I think this was seminar number 6 that we just finished. Which is normally like long weekends. We normally do about 15 hours of training over the 2 days, and everyone's just exhausted by the end of it. It's a toe. You're the only person at the end of it who's still going. Everyone else is just like on the floor. So I've been going over to Estonia as well, and I I got my black belt from Priit back in March after heavily adopting his system. So that's kind of the introduction of how we know each other. So this seminar weekend was initially on Baby Bridge, so it was a new thing that Priit's been playing with for the last X number of months, and mixing it in with his system. We're just going to talk about initially your ideas of Baby Bridge, where it's come from, why it doesn't exist in Jiu-Jitsu. So pretty much exactly what you've just been saying to us all weekend.
I just want to say that my introduction, you saying something about me, makes me look really rolling horrendously, hold me down. I was like super bad person. No, it was good.
No, you held me down with my elbows.
Yeah,
no side control pressure.
It is funny. It was funny, But so Baby Bridge, it's been. I think you can start going back. I think if you go Rickson Gracie and Budojek video, it's 4 years old, and he was explaining bridge from mount there, looking away, pulling the head back, and seems like, I'm saying it my way. It seemed like all jiu-jitsu world went crazy. Oh, now we know the bridge and it's magic. It was just like a regular bridge, what wrestlers would do, or you learn in not day one, but pretty early. And I don't know. For me, it made sense if he does those things, kind of baby bridging, then Rickson style makes also sense. And also that was the first thing I was like, it's interesting. He bridges differently than there's a Pedro Sauer side control video. You can look it up in YouTube. He showed we call it now baby bridge against that, so that intrigued me. And then I think there's some more stuff, but Wim Deputeur's class in last year's summer, you can look it up in Club Order Mirroring Principle. That kind of was the last straw that kind of was it looks mechanically so sound. And it took me, I think, 10 months or something, that then I kind of got it, that it's everywhere, that people usually haven't said it, it's everywhere. It's like, this is I do, and maybe there I do, but it's not like a shrimp in Jiu-Jitsu. But now it's more like a bridge, like a shrimp. So if shrimp is defined, then it's one end, then it's a baby bridge is the other end. So just as a coach, it makes just so much sense to teach it. So both extremes are defined, and now you can do a shorter or longer version of the movement. And probably if I say it's missing, and everybody, there's always a bunch of people that always get it wrong. But I don't think I'm wrong when I say it's mostly missing from Jiu-Jitsu as a defined motion. But I think many people are doing that already by themselves, but they haven't just said it. So Wim also started by saying it like a shoulder escape. If shrimp is a hip escape, then baby bridge is a shoulder escape. And I know I've done similar motions, but it never has a defined as a motion you do like a shrimp. So that's kind of what I would say for introduction, so to speak.
Just for anyone who may not have come across baby bridge or even heard of the terminology, is it worth just quickly showing the basic movement? We have got, I am slightly injured, so I will not be able to help demonstrate, but we have got a spare human being. I'll use that term loosely.
So I can also do it on my own also, but let's say if he's there or something. So usually if it's a hawking, people try to, if it's a bad hawking or hawking, people try to flatten me out. If it's done good, it's actually quite hard, but I guess you can go flatten me out. So it's kind of like a position you can stay. It's too obvious now and kind of weird to say that it's kind of missing in there, but it's, you bridge in, hip in a mat, and you look back, and then it's kind of hard to flatten them out if they really overcommit a little bit. So you can do it either way, but it's basically like a baby means it's a two ways. It's a smaller bridge, because bigger bridge would be here, and so it's a baby bridge, but also it's the way that kids bridge. So if you have an infant and stuff, they turn around, they lead with the head. That's the move they do. So that's why, and I'm kind of flattered that Vin kind of took the same approach, and we call it both the baby bridge. So I was kind of like I don't know what, I think Bjorni Baldursson and stuff, Iceland, kind of named it. Also helped to name it. So basically, it's a movement of, if this is a shrimp, so that really extension, having toes you can have here, or this, really extending and 45 to the mat. That's kind of the bridge. And if they push this shoulder, just put it with arms. Just push. It's really hard to flatten me out, and if I don't have that leg, it kind of happens. So kind of the late stage before I'm flat. And you can do it from the top, from the bottom, everything. So, but I think from the bottom it's mostly missing, so to speak, as a move. I would say, but it's a thank you. It's a deeper conversation of what is missing means. So because I think many people have done it, and definitely Rickson Gracie and Pedro Sauer and those things. And so, but I think we should talk about it more, like more as a concept of everywhere. So that's kind of a short introduction.
So we've just done, we did, initially the first part of the seminar, we did 4 hours of smash passing, and then we followed with 4 hours of baby bridge, 2 hours yesterday and 2 hours today. So going from that, what kind of structure did you have to try and incorporate baby bridge, knowing who we were as a club, and we've worked obviously a lot previously with Running Man, Hawkins, etc. How did you then kind of marry up the idea of how to apply baby bridge, A, for us, but B, for people who hadn't maybe played with the system as much, the defensive postures, adding context? How did you kind of shape the seminars around that?
At the moment, I would say it's not very different.
Right.
Because you also witnessed that. Because I haven't found a better way to teach it before. Right now, I'm teaching it more like showing you positions where it works. And I wish I would do it differently a little bit, but right now it makes sense to teach it this way, to show people evidence that where it exists and how many problems it solves. I guess for people that kind of do what we do, all those other positions, it gives like a better context, and you right away see where it adds and maybe even solves some problems what we're system having, like maybe flatten them, from the hawking, they're pulling us back and stuff. So that kind of was maybe useful, that you have a like right away the system that fits. If you don't have that understanding of the way we escape, then it's just one move you do, and maybe if you too much frame-based escapes, then you use it differently, because all the positions we didn't use the frames. You could actually, I think, do it from the bridge and then shrimp also, but we didn't do it this way. So, but I know, I think if I mentioned like really like Marcelo Marcelo, I think the side control escapes. He also does that, frames and bridge and stuff, shrimps. But it's just random places you use that. Marcelo did, I think, very big bridge. But I think the baby bridge idea is like everywhere. So in my head, I'm trying to prove kind of to everybody where it exists.
Yeah.
And show different, also very scattered variations. So, and I think there's more options, but so far we discovered those that I can do in 4 hours. And probably there's more, and I think in some way I can, some months and years, whatever, I can more understand it. But right now, I cannot teach it any other way. I don't know how yet.
So is there anywhere you could possibly just show like one example, like how baby bridge could be used, like we did the north-south defense, or how would you incorporate baby bridge into that kind of motion that maybe people hadn't seen before? So instead of the tried and true, well, not tried and true, but as in the stereotypical way in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu of having a definitive escape for definitive problems, how baby bridge could be is the same movement, but a couple of demonstrations. So maybe like from the north-south defense, but also as a collar defense. Could we show a couple of those?
What defense collar?
X choke.
Okay. I will also add, I think the omoplata actually kind of.
Yes.
Omoplata explains it really well, because that defense kind of ruins everything. Yeah. So north-south, I guess. We can do north-south.
Okay.
Next choke, I guess, omoplata. So.
Yeah. Okay. We'll do a quick demonstration of the defense for north-south choke.
Yes.
We'll have some giant arms do it.
So. I'll do the choke. Okay. So. I guess, let me speak a little bit. So what I do is just this and turning away, and I keep my head under. So it's still a jawline stuff a little bit, but it's not a choke. Go. So go the choke. So you can mess with this also, like a shoulder shrug. You can do this. It actually makes it worse. Do it again. I do this.
No, I can't get my own way now.
So, but I have to be here, because if they really get the choke, so if I can't pull the head up, then it doesn't work in this way. Wait, and then if I turn in turning is a little bit even to the choke. So, and you can also play with shoulder more, so it kind of makes the space even more weirder. Go.
Well, nothing.
So, being flat, I think, is the worst thing you can have, kind of in a way, and that's just basically just cancels the angles and stuff. And also, I think, let's say, like even omoplata, you would do it here. Omoplata, so you can step over. No, like go to knees. Yes, go to knees. So usually after a roll, after a omoplata roll, if somebody rolls, you can do this, and then you have all U2, go back. Then you can turn back to triangle, armbar, everything. So this position would happen, after I roll and he ends up in top. So I didn't have an answer for this, and usually people have side mount, or you do arm bars and triangles. So if I do a baby bridge, it kind of makes everything. So I can pull the arm out way easier, and it's not in danger. I'm not flat. I can pressure position. So only option they have left mostly is just facing me and going to side control. Mount is dangerous, and they can't do that. Turning the head and go arm bar and triangle is gone. So I just do the baby bridge, and it already creates a pressure here, so I can start to pull my head out, and I can just frame a little bit, but if I want. So that kind of, it's a weird thing people have done. Let's say if it's a stiff arm, people do it like they bridge and they do stiff arm escapes. But from those positions, I haven't seen people use the same motion. So in that sense, kind of, it's different for me, because I've done Jiu-Jitsu for like 19 years. So I'm not saying because it's different because I figured it out or Wim helped or everything. So I think it's just different the way you see it. And maybe I don't explain it well. I feel maybe people sometimes miss the point why it's different. but I think it just changes everything. That it's the position, it's everywhere. So I think that's it's not just one position. It's everywhere. You can use it as everywhere. You can use it as a shrimp. So I think that's very very important distinction, at least to me. So I hope I'm not biased and just banging my own drum, so to speak. That I'm promoting this and now it's good. But actually I'm saying like this is crazy how much it helps. And I wish I would have this earlier, and then my life would be so much easier. But I'm happy, and definitely Wim and everybody. Wim was like I said, last straw. I was like, he did a very good class, and I was like really intrigued that it looks so good and it cannot be wrong. And then it took me a while, and then now I understand. So, but yeah, I think if you look at YouTube, I think it's 4 years ago that Budo Jake and Rickson Gracie, I think they did it. So they started from there because it was a little bit different than everybody did, and he was explaining that things I didn't understand. And so I don't think there's some earlier videos about it. So, but if you watch NCAA wrestling, you can say a fan of wrestling, you also have seen wrestlers do this kind of move that we don't do mostly in Jiu-Jitsu. So I think this is actually the same thing. So yeah, but that's about the answer.
Actually, Zombie, I put a short video out today asking people if they wanted to ask any questions for this, and that actually leads on nicely with regards to talk about wrestling. One thing that is quite pronounced, especially if you ever get to train with Priit or do any of his classes, is that the teaching methodology isn't atypical BJJ. And I've explained it in a certain way when I've ever spoken about this subject in regards to the idea that there's a orthodoxy of, maybe it's a hangover from the more martial arts days, of teaching a predicament solution, as in someone does X and there has to be a Y answer, and then that becomes quite bogged down with how people approach Jiu-Jitsu as they see the problem, and then they have to ask their coach if they can't solve it, what is the specific answer for this specific thing? Like, what if they put their leg here? What if they put their hand here? So one thing that you get when training with Priit is that there is the initial level, base level, is this idea of a defensive posture. And you said quite well, I think in one of the camps recently, is that people can't see you as the escaping guy, when it's not about escaping, it's about survival. So was there a certain part, because actually this ties into some questions that I was asked, was there a certain point where your view on training martial arts and training Jiu-Jitsu changed from that kind of predicament solution kind of orthodoxy, or did you never have it, to a very much wrestling, boxing ideology of having a defensive posture and be able to survive before actually learning anything else?
So many questions.
I think there was one, but I think it was a bit of a run-up for it.
I think the blog I always recommend people to read is aliveness101.blogspot.com. That's Matt Thornton's training philosophy blog. That helped me a lot. That was my Bible for long. And I don't think we had that for a start. I think we started without having that. But then I think that was the first blog that talked about what is fundamental, how we should coach. There's drilling and there's different drilling, and so that was really helpful that somebody laid it out. But to say I got it from the first time I read it, it would be wrong, because I would say let's say it took me 10 years to understand what's written there, because you try and you different methods and you do this and that, and finally you go back and read it again. So I would recommend people to read it. But also I would say you will find all of this in any book that talks about developing some skill and how. So I don't think it's specific and it's only that blog, but that helped me to start. And the more I read, and then the more I understand, it's like everywhere. Everybody talks about it. similar fashion, but it was more jiu-jitsu oriented, text. So that way, if you if you read about something else, then they talk about some other skills. So there was more jiu-jitsu skills. So that definitely helped. So we got it early. What else? This boxing and sports stuff, I think, is pretty recent. If you ask me, I don't know how it started. Just makes sense, and I don't know why. I don't. And then all this survival. And if you ask me why I chose defense, I don't know. We could also say defense chose me. But just talk about why I think what I do is very important, or why I consider my work important. Is everybody talks about survival. Like if you open up any white belt helping article, everybody talks about it. But show me the solution. Show me the system. Like I don't. If I say I don't know any, it's kind of like a very bad thing to say, I think, because many people will go like, yeah, I have a system, but I don't. There's no DVDs about those. Just you can have an escaping system here and there, just random scattered things. So escaping has become my passion, and I see there's work to be done. So it's kind of. I started maybe a little bit, and then I see I can have a living doing that, and it's just the stuff I do. So in that sense, it's just taken totally different turn, because people do need it, and I'm the one guy that they can turn to. So that also amplifies what I do all the time. So it pushes me to figure that more out. But if you ask me, I don't know why the boxing and stuff. So it's recent 3-year whatever thing. So so
going from that then, was there any, again, I'm trying to amalgamate quite a few questions into one. Who do you then consider, you mentioned Matt Thornton in that answer, do you have any inspirations who you look to for either how you coach or how you wish to train, like your aspects of Jiu-Jitsu? Because I know how you said that you're self-taught. Who do you consider like some of your grappling inspirations, either in their methodology or their techniques?
Very hard question. Yeah, I like to just to be clear. I like to think I'm like Stardust and me. I think that's people have to understand it in a correct context, because Stardust means everybody.
Just for like context of that, he means lineage. Not just like some sort of like true medical idea that Priit just came from Stardust. Let's go from lineage. That's why he's here.
Yeah. So that's, I like to give respect to everybody, because in a way, in a very correct context again, when it's a public. So if you meet somebody twice a year, but if you learn other times from everybody else, so then you can consider who's your coach. And all the jiu-jitsu is weird because of belts and stuff, and somebody gives you that, and other than that, but I would like, because everything I do these days, I guess all those people that helped me, I've brought to me this, but everything I do, it's all me. The turtle is mine. Everything is mine, so yeah. So it's nothing. I don't mimic anybody. So this is kind of what I come up with. But all other people can be also contributed to that, and that's why I like to say, like, I don't like that it's only one person. So there's so many helpers. So that's why I don't like to think about this way. So what was the other stuff?
Like looking from either, like I say, you mentioned Matt Thornton in regards to
our influencers.
Yeah.
Oh, hard question. I think we all grew up with watching Roy Harry's videos, and it's very, very hard. Obvious inspiration tell us that whatever he can do in a high level, that playing turtle and stuff, this is very big inspiration what I do, and all the pandas and turtles. So I think competitors, you get inspired by them, their struggles and stuff. You can name like a lot of fancy coaches, but I have very hard time. it's not that people didn't influence, but I have a very hard time answering that question because I don't know. Like I've struggled. I'm not like I don't tense up right now, but it's like I have a very hard time to name the one, so to speak, or that who started it all, kind of. Because I can name like a recent ones, like competitors and stuff who inspired me, but I think I have to go back then. Because though the grilled chicken started because of Galvao and the Braulio fight, so that is a big inspiration to figure out open guard for me. So I have those matches, that inspired me to go search, tell us, and the Swedish guy Erik Linden, and there was a fight Barbosa and Shaolin in the back escape fight, and so a lot of those fights has inspired me to figure out the system, and then the Rickson Gracie's bridge, and then Pedro Sauer, and so those, if I name why I came up with stuff, so I don't know why I saw the problems, and those guys gave me the answer, so to speak. But I think the problems were there before, and then they just needed to see certain things, and those guys helped me. But obviously, you can go like Marcelo Garcia and those things, and the obvious names, but yeah, it's a very strange answer and the question. So let's move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the more odd questions actually I got was someone talked about the book Jiu-Jitsu University, which I'm pretty sure everyone owned at some point, Sala Ribeiro. And there is like rumblings of Running Man, Baby Bridge in that. So did you how did you get much from Ribeiro's, watching their fights? I know challenge is known for not having this guard passed.
I know that I haven't studied Saulo Ribeiro, but I think Indrek, one of the Jiu-Jitsu pioneers in Estonia, I think he studied more like what Saulo did because he was a strategic, the guy that compete a lot and won. Yeah, the Running Man, the name is stolen from Saulo because he did also a Running Man, but he played more arm like this.
Yes.
So I played like this, and you can say recently, I don't know, 6 months ago, whatever. I know it's there. Also, Lachlan has said that, and some grappling guys, Jason Scully has video about it. He keeps it there. So I usually this is a base, and then this could be option to go there. But Saulo was doing that, and also famously saying he's not in my back, he's just behind me or something. So he was also showing that turning the back is totally fine, and he was really, you can look it up. It's very famous in that sense. That he wasn't bashing turning the back, so to speak, and it's like don't turn your back. He was talking about those things, and nobody could argue with Saulo because he was very decorated competitor and knew a lot. So definitely that started from there, but the way I developed the Running Man, I think it all started with the Hawking, and then I don't know when Running Man came. Because what I answered in a seminar also, one question was, I can pretty much, I think, chronologically go back to the 0 points I found. And I can know my existence from the 0 points. Then that's clear beginning, and I can explain everything that came after that. And then I started to be conscious of what I did. Certain 0 points gave me that. But before that, if you ask me, what did I do before my turtle? It's like, I don't know. Or what? So it's clear that I don't know what I did before my turtle, or how I played the turtle, or what I taught. I don't know, and how I taught that, let's say, side controller. I don't know. Probably on frames and stuff, but those Hawking, Running Man, Turtle, Panda, grilled chicken, everything has gave me like literally a 0 point of time even. That I know exactly what I do now. I can pass it on. And it's really weird to be conscious of that beginning. And before that, it was just something I did, and I can't, because grilled chicken was discovered for me 2013 November. I was a black belt then for a year already. So what did I do before, 10 years or something? I have no clue. I can't go back and go I know exactly how my development went. And right now I know exactly how it developed in 6 years. And so it's weird that conscious points that those zeros and ideas gave me, that I'm really aware of what I'm doing, and it's for me it's very important.
Well, actually, that's what I kind of agree. Is that prior to meeting you, I had a very orthodox kind of jiu-jitsu when it came to shrimping, a fear of ever showing your back, and various other things. But then, obviously, once we met, running man became a huge part of my game, and actually then turning the other way, being able to play turtle. That was, I literally was a brown belt, and I'd never really played turtle, and then this is brand new to me. So I completely agree with that, because I can't remember what I did for the 8 years up to brown belt. Since then, it's just been completely different. I had to pretty much abandon jiu-jitsu. I think that can be quite one of the issues as well, is that due to the orthodoxy of jiu-jitsu sometimes, and the like I said, the belts, you can kind of revere certain coaches and stick to what they've said and be unwilling to go against them. Do you think that could be an issue with what you teach, because it is so different, as in people may look at what you do and kind of poo-poo it almost and say no, it's, despite the evidence, the orthodoxy kind of overrides it?
Yeah, I meet that all the time. I don't think it's a bad thing in every field. I think as much as I've watched those TED Talks, there's early adapters and there's mainstream, and there's very late people that adapt. But think of that panda or sitting turtle. It's like people thought I was crazy. And I was like, what is that? I was like, I don't know, it just works. And I've seen Tellus does it, but clearly I would think I'd play it way more like a single position than he uses, but it is inspired by him. So, but it's like, I don't know why I do things, but it kind of works, and then I have to I'm curious. And I'm mostly alone by doing this, because people, they don't believe it, or they think that there's something more important to do while chasing a ghost. So, but now we're here, and those positions are clearly working. And I'm happy I was that stubborn. And I meet all the time. So I grew up with the knowledge that turtle, my coaches or my guide people, but turtle is a transitional position. Don't stay there. When there's MMA, they get punched in the head. But the argument is so flawed, and they will lose the argument in 5 minutes. But as a coach, coaches, you don't argue them. You just, oh yeah, but we should fight back or something. Or we clearly know that it wasn't true. They didn't know, and we grew up with that knowledge. But clearly they didn't know, and now we know more. So I would think sometimes we have to challenge these things we've been said. So yeah, because the argument would be like, why would you train mount? Mount could be also mount bottom would be like a transitional position, because you can get punched in the face there. So you can say anything about any side control or whatever the position you can treat like that. So it is dangerous. So, and sometimes the coaches, I guess even me or whatever, we're not aware of our biases. And we've been told that mantra, don't turn your back, so long that it's, you start to believe it, or even you don't remember why we have that thing, what will happen then. And then if the argument is, no, they take your back, and then you watch Tellus, you go like, yeah, now who's lying? That you're saying don't turn your back, but he does it in the highest level, and clearly very well, and people can take his back, so who's wrong now? So those kind of things, they stick out. And then usually their argument is, oh, but it's an exception. But then we should study that exception, that why I can do it constantly, not only one fight, but he does it constantly against everybody. So clearly it's not an exception. If it would be like one fight, he could pull it off, one guy, we could go, oh, exception. So, and also, I don't know why it's only Tellus does it in a high level, that's also weird, kind of. But yeah, so I think coaches, they should think more like why they're saying certain things, why certain things are true. So there has to be evidence-based. And also I think it's very healthy to say I don't know. So we should. Let's say if you watch Joe Rogan podcast about scientists, in very very often they go like I don't know. They're really like I don't know. And I think it's very healthy. And we should use it more in jiu-jitsu, that we don't know all. And if somebody says, why cannot turn a back? And if your answer is, they take your back, it's clearly wrong. So you don't know the back system, the escapes and everything else. So I think it would be healthy that I'm not good at this. But to admit that would be also weird, so people don't do, because they're coaches, they should know. So it's I don't know, it's a weird thing. So I'm happy that I have a job to do, and I'm traveling and advocating this, and slowly it's spreading. That turning your back and playing like half back and full back, nothing happens. But it's a big paradigm shift for other people, that because they have to attack me a lot to understand that there's nothing there. Because doing only once a row, like 5 minutes, they only take it once. They usually have like, if I do it like a third and fourth and everything, then I would do it. But if I really have to prove and I really hold my own, I can do it pretty well, so I can still prove it there. They won't get it. And if they submit me or get me like 1 out of 10, and then they're like, yeah, now your system is wrong, that's like 1 out of 10. You just didn't. That's not how evidence works. You lost 9 times, and then even if you get like 1 time me, I can prove you again like 9 times you lose again. So it's not like if you would choke me 9 times and then I escape 1 time, then I would be wrong, So I don't mind the resistance, and I don't mind people telling me that there's nothing and I'm wrong. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm capable of, and I just need to find enough early adapters that understand. And also I like the compliments people give me these days that are interested, because some people are curious. And I've been many cases people came to me, and that's high level guys, and they're like, I want to feel, and we roll. And then because the way I roll, it's weird. So I think if I say change is coming, I know it's kind of weird, but still I'm already poking enough people, and we'll see how long it takes to become. If the panda becomes mainstream, that would be the funniest day ever. So that's one. Panda would be the side construct people teach. So if you ask what my goal would be, that is that most funniest goal would be like panda would be taught in every school as a fundamental for playing bottom game. And then I'll go like, my job is done here. So that'll be a wonderful day. So until that, I will keep pushing my agenda. Yeah. So.
One question I did get asked, and this go again, kind of amalgamation of 2 questions, is do you have a hierarchy when it comes to defensive postures, like some are better than others? And also, do you recommend certain, if anyone doesn't know, Priit has a couple of DVDs out on BJJ fanatics, grilled chicken and turtle?
Sitting turtle also.
Yes. Do you have a hierarchy or like an order you should buy those DVDs, or? Okay.
Yeah. So position-wise, I think that makes sense to me is usually hawking, running man, panda, and turtle. By the sense, which position allows me to stand up the fastest. So that's turtle. That panda still needs to go to active turtle and stand up. So that order, hawking would be the worst because I'm almost flat on my back. Then running man, and then there's a hierarchy on how much back exposure each position gives. But if I put the objective how fast I can stand up, that would be the best thing in any situation. No gigi, self-defense MMA. Then the hierarchy usually goes like you can argue like hawking, running man, yeah. So turtle, just stand up. So, but you can also go shortcuts like hawking and just sit up and then stand up like a technical stand up. But I would consider those shortcuts. But that would be the hierarchy. And to do this, I think you have to know all the 4 positions to work the system. So you can't just have hawking and that's it. So that's what I'm doing. I think you need to move around. So, but one hierarchy you can build like this.
So the first class I ever did with Priit back at the Globetrotter camp in Copenhagen was actually a turtle class, and that's probably the first time my brain fell out. Truly, is that one of the first things you said is that if you want to see a jiu-jitsu person's brain melt, just stand up from turtle. And the amount of people who have had come to me since then, who've maybe watched your DVDs, etc., and say, yeah, that's hilarious. Like, that's something that's not taught. As we're taught to hide our collars, etc., but just a simple idea that we could just stand up. That was like, I can see why you then there's the hierarchy in that way, and that's kind of hilarious that he looked at it like that. One final question then. This is going to be a definite.
That would be answer also the question how to pull guard from turtle.
Yes.
You just stand up, turn around, and
drop back down again, and just start limiting.
Yeah.
One final question then.
You said DVDs. Sorry.
Yes. Sorry.
So grilled chicken is separate. Open guard. Why not? Turtle comes now. It's a bundle, so it's a turtle, and good kind of good stuff, so to speak. But it's complemented by the sitting turtle DVD now because it's panda and active turtle. So if you want to get really kind of good baseline information about turtles, so the turtle and the sitting turtle they work independently. Turtle more independently than sitting turtle, and then if they combine, so if you want one, the turtle one, single, add the sitting. If you want open guard, grilled chicken makes also sense to have it, and turtle is just grilled chicken turn around. But eventually I think you should have all three. Yeah. And there's more coming. We're gonna film it in February and May, and just all the Hawkins and Running Man we're gonna add to those things. So all 4 positions they will come out. So I think defensively adding those things, like turtle ones, and then we build on those things. So all the order makes sense to have this first, that first. But having only panda first, it's weird. I think it's just turtle and then panda or grilled chicken.
Yeah. One final question now. Okay, so one final question. And it's maybe not Jiu-Jitsu related completely. For anyone who hasn't noticed, maybe due to rash guards, etc., Priit has a tattoo of the Joker on his forearm. And one of the questions I actually got is, have you seen the new Joker film?
No. I don't have time.
Okay.
So next weekend it's already like Poland, and I will go home very late, maybe again on Monday. So no, one of the this is for reason because of Estonian and being like a very serious, and I like the movie also, but no Joker, but definitely gonna see it because it's so different in a way. I think it's comics, and I think it makes us think of different problems we have right now. So it's a really definitely film I'm going definitely to watch. But I think it's away from comics, like a Joker. Not a comic fan, but as much as I understand. So as a film, as a Joker, as a second part, I love it very much as the idea of comics and Batman. But definitely that Joker is in my film. But it's going to be a very sad, I think, and very thought-provoking film, like how people have this describe it. So
I've seen it. I agree with that.
So, but we'll see if there's some also lines that will, why so serious was the line of the last movie. But there's second one. So what the lines are there. So how Joker uses there. So maybe I do a redo something and just new Joker. So we'll see.
Wacky Phoenix is on the other side.
Yes. So I'm definitely intrigued. Yeah.
Okay, one final one, just out of here. So now, you have something to ask?
Obviously, your concentration has been on the defensive part for the upper body and everything. Do you think like you will ever come with a defensive system for the legs, or is it something you're working towards, or is it in the back of your mind that's something you're going to move on to?
Obviously,
because the basic postures to an extent do, help you survive leg locks, but there isn't a complete system just for leg defense like yours. Is it something you're working towards?
Yes, let's say not consciously, but let's say we rolled also Friday with Alex and stuff, and he's attacking legs, and I'm definitely enjoying escaping and closing my knees and stuff and trying to find patterns. But I think even there, I don't think it's so messed up. I think if you compare it to upper body escapes and leg locks escapes, I don't feel they need my help so much. Because if you watch the defensive structure of leg locks, I think it's there is a nice systems around, and they're talking about slipping heels, and this is very late, and I do late arm bars, and if people ask me why would you do late arm bars, look, they're slipping heels very late, so it's similar knowledge. But I think somehow it's weird because I feel it's more thought out. So I just can study it. I don't feel it's like so behind.
Yeah.
And upper body, I feel it's like, I don't know why it's so behind, but it's still flat and doing funny things. So I think my input, I feel, is more needed there.
Yeah.
And because I want to make sense of it myself more, because I want to teach it. With leg locks, it's easier to systemize, and even I see like there's more people working on that, and so I think in that sense that would be answered a little bit, because I don't feel people are like screaming like there's no defense in leg locks, we're just getting leg locked left and right. But because if you really study Eddie Cummings and Gary Tonon first match in EBI, this is like a leg lock instructional. If you really are like go replay it, because how they defend stuff and how they roll out, it's, it was many years back and things have evolved, but also that defense I think sticks around. So yeah, if I can add, if I find a position, then people are like, oh, there's no system, I'm definitely intrigued that can I be that guy that solves something and adds to that. But I think many people are working that like round the clock to figure it out. And if not, if I end up there, but I think my way is I want to have like a early, mid, late, very late. So sometimes some positions have early and you're super late. So I'm like, what happens between? So I also like those answers. So if there's none, like a mid-range, then I have to figure out mid-range and make it as a system and maybe contribute. If something's thought out, then yes, it's ready. So I think in that help, I can force people, like, give me the mid-answer also. Like, I don't like to have only extremes. So in that sense, so I feel if I can, yes, but I feel there's no like, it's not burning, so to speak, like, it's actually pretty fun to watch how many late leg locks people are escaping and rolling and taking the back. So I'm like happy, oh, I can just enjoy learning this and not going like, oh shit, I have to figure this out also. So yeah.
One final one then, just before we close.
Third final one.
Okay, quickly. Someone's asked you coming to Toronto, Canada. Do you have any trips coming up around there?
Invitations!
Yes,
so
send invitations.
Yeah, so I'm booked pretty much till mid-June. So if somebody wants me there, contact. Really, like, somebody can just ask when you're coming, but I usually get an invitation from some coaches, or I'm planning there, so the trip I'm coming, somebody's hosting me, and so I'm not coming myself and just landing in Canada and go like, yeah, who's interested? So so I know there's clubs, but I also would like to have a contact, and somebody really brings me there, and I know if somebody's risking to bring me there, there's definitely clubs that want to jump, in a board, and then it's going to be a bigger thing maybe. Somebody first has to take the risk with me.
No, thank you. That was quite actually a lot of fun. Right, we're going to some dinner.
Yes.
Perfect. Right, thank you. Thank you for watching that video, whatever the hell it was about. Please like it, share it, subscribe to the channel. If there's a bell icon, it should be on this side. Please click on that if you want to get notifications for any new videos I make. If there are other videos around my head someplace, please click on those for more techniques. And in the description is a link to my Patreon if you want to support the channel in any way. So thank you for your time.